There's Eric, our board chair. So we'd like to get the toast section of the evening get started. I want to welcome everybody to the Institute of Design and the Kaplan building. Thank you for coming. This is a very special occasion. As you know, we are bidding farewell to Dennis, our former dean. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anijo Matthew, and I am the interim dean. I stepped in just a few weeks ago to take over from Dennis. It's a pleasure to have you all here, and it's a pleasure to be here in person, isn't it? And I think we are getting to a point where we are going below 2%. That's another big news. So yay to Chicago, yay to all of us for holding the fort and making it through, hopefully. So today we have a short program where we have a few people who are going to say a few words. But before we get started on that, I wanted to say thank you to all of our community members for showing up. So for our faculty members, for our staff, our students, all of the people who make the Institute of Design so special, thank you for turning up to support Dennis. We also have, in our midst, we have board members. So we have Carol Siegel, who's here. We have Brianna Silva, who's somewhere. Brianna is there. We have Eric Larson. I didn't see anybody else. Is there anybody else who's a board member who's here? I think that I got most of the folks who are here. So thank you for all the board members who are here. Thank you for supporting the Institute. And we have a few people, we are streaming this live online. So we have many people online who are listening to this. So thank you for everybody online who joined us today. So with that, I'm going to invite a few people to say a few words to all of you. First on the list, of course, our new president, Raj Achambadi. So I would like to invite Raj, please.
Thank you, Anijo. Good evening. My name is Raj Achambadi, and thanks to Anijo for calling me new, because I'm now 6 months old. And actually, Michelangelo said to me this evening, so your honeymoon is over. And I said, I hope it lasts for a while, 4 or 5 years. So thank you, Anijo. First and foremost, I want to thank all of you who are here and all of you on Zoom, zooming in for this particular event. Much appreciated. And it's wonderful to see all of you in person here and to take off the mask, albeit for a few minutes. So thank you. But at the outset, this is personally a bittersweet event for me to bid farewell to Denis Weil, because when I got this offer 8 or 9 months ago, and when the announcement was made, a lot of my friends from the design school where I worked and some design colleagues across the country said to me, you're going to have a fantastic time at Illinois Institute of Technology. You will enjoy working with Denis. And so, thank you. And then I had to go and Google who Denis Weil was, because it made me feel, oh my God, I don't know who this person is. So I had to go in, and then I realized how big Denis was. But his greatness is obviously bringing people together. And of course, I come here and I have phenomenal interactions with Denis for the first 4 months. He shares with me his strategy, and there are other things that he does. And of course, then there is of course the bombshell, end of December saying, then I'm off, kind of. So I had to call Denis and say, was it me? No. So, but on a serious, of course it is bittersweet in the sense that from a personal point of view, obviously I'm going to miss Denis's counsel, Denis's suggestions, and but at an institutional level also, when I talk to a variety of people from ID and across the university, people say some unbelievable things about how Denis moved us into being a future-focused player. And you've set us up well, Denis, and that is going to be your legacy. You have laid a very strong foundation for a very strong ID, and a very strong ID, obviously, is a very strong Illinois Institute of Technology. So thank you. And last but not the least, Denis is a role model to a lot of us, because when you think about his career, somebody who worked at Procter & Gamble and then McDonald's and takes a chance to come to a university which is completely different, in case you haven't noticed. It's very different running a McDonald's as opposed to running a university. And then now goes on to run a museum. And so the ability to be a transformative change agent will serve you well, Denis. And as importantly, I think the experienced engineer in you is going to serve the Israel Museum very well, and they are very lucky to have you. So thank you for the privilege of knowing you. And more importantly, don't be a stranger. So please take our calls. Okay? So that's basically what it is. My very best wishes. And on behalf of the Illinois Institute of Technology, our very best wishes to you for continued success, Denis. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege. And hopefully we'll stay engaged. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Raj. So next I invite our provost, Peter Kilpatrick.
Thank you, Anijo. So I have a lot of Denis Weil stories that I could tell. When I first got to Illinois Tech, I accepted the job in May of 2018, and one of my first duties was to understand how this building was going to get used, the Kaplan Institute. And Denis was very generous. Denis said, why don't we do a design thinking charrette where we imagine how the Kaplan Institute could be used, how the building could be used, how the Kaplan Institute and the Institute of Design could engage and interact with each other. And Denis was brilliant. I mean, I think, design thinking was invented at the Institute of Design, essentially, and Denis is a great exemplar of how to implement design thinking. So we had this wonderful, wonderful session, and then things unraveled a little bit because of our director of the Kaplan Institute and some of the things that were happening in terms of interpersonal dynamics. And Denis just kept on keeping on. And what I would tell you about Denis is that of all the deans that I've had and of all the department chairs that I've had, I think I would put you right up there at the very top in terms of strategy, in terms of being out of the box, in terms of really innovative and creative thought as far as Raj said, future focused, in terms of reimagining education and reimagining the identity of a place like the Institute of Design, which has this incredible, 80-some-year-old storied history. And so I came to really value our relationship. I came to really appreciate and look forward to my time with Denis and value everything that he had to say, because I knew it was coming from a place of generosity of heart in terms of giving to the institution. And, that really moved me, Denis. It really did. As Raj said, Denis didn't have to come to the Institute of Design to prove anything. Denis already had an incredible career, an incredible set of experiences. He was obviously, doing just fine and didn't need the Institute of Design, and yet he took it on, I think, out of, again, the generosity of his spirit. And Dennis and I were chatting just before the event started about his experiences, his early experiences with the Jerusalem Museum. And he was telling me about antiquities theft and, about all the stuff that comes at you as the director of the Jerusalem Museum. And I said, that sounds a lot like a provost job, So I really felt like Dennis and I bonded even a little bit closer now that he was sharing with me some of the stuff that happens as the director of the museum. But Dennis, I'm going to miss you a lot. You were always someone whose meetings I really look forward to because I always learn from you. I always learn how to think creatively and innovatively. I always learned how to think. I always learned how to put things in context of the marketplace. Most academics don't do that. But Dennis really understood branding. He understands the market. And I think he understands the future of higher ed. And I learned a tremendous amount from you. And I'm going to cherish that because it's really helped me in my own activities and my own job. So Dennis, I'm going to miss you. I look forward to coming back to Jerusalem and visiting you there. I hope we'll have a great dinner out and enjoy each other's company. And thank you for everything that you did for Illinois Tech.
Thank you, Peter. Now I have a special honor of inviting our board chair, Eric Larson. Eric.
Thank you, Anija. By the way, Dennis, Peter said those things about you behind your back too. So he was very supportive of you always. I talked with Dennis a little bit before the event started tonight, and he said if he thought working in academics was hard, you should try to run a museum. So I think you got a big challenge ahead of you. So Dennis, we're here obviously to wish you well in your new role, and to say thank you for a very successful tenure as the Dean of the Institute of Design. And I just wanted to share some comments on three different aspects that I observed. First is the diversity of experience that you brought to this job. Second, to mention a few of the accomplishments that I witnessed in my role as board chair. And then lastly, as Raj talked a little bit about the legacy that you are leaving at the Institute of Design. So first, let me talk about the diversity. Others have mentioned this already. You brought a variety of valuable experiences to your role as dean, and obviously your long career at McDonald's in innovation. But then you made a deliberate career transition before you joined ID into a number of innovative assignments with a bunch of social, public sector, and philanthropic organizations. And that diversity that you brought here, your business instincts, and your knowledge about how to solve complex issues, I thought was a very good leadership for the Institute of Design. Those were things we knew about you before you joined. We found out the next year that you also knew how to throw a good party. So the 2018 celebration of ID, the 80th anniversary, was a lot of fun. So I would like to just share with you my observations about some of the things that you accomplished in your role as dean. And they're going to be different because I was a board member. They're going to be different than what faculty members and students and other people at ID or at Illinois Tech would have observed. Raj has already mentioned this. The ID 2025 plan that you led and the board supported took the very well-established position that ID had as in human-centered design and looked into the future. And we're very excited about that. The second thing that I wanted to mention, and Peter just talked about this as well, is in the spirit of collaboration, you moved ID from downtown to the main campus. And I know that was not without its difficulties, but I think it's been a mutual benefit. Third thing I'd like to say is just in the relationship that you and I had, we focused on the governance for ID. And Peter has said to me provost, Kilpatrick, I guess I should say, has said to me that he now cites this as one of the best practices at Illinois Tech. And the last thing is, I think you've really broadened the reach of the Institute of Design while you've been here. So the last thing I'd like to talk about is the legacy that you leave, and I think it'll be ID 2025. It is the map for ID's future in what we described as 3 distinct parts. So to create practical new knowledge, the Action Lab, to disseminate knowledge to a global community of learners, that's the Academy, and to continue the methods-based approach to training the next generation of designers, that's the Graduate School. But you've also groomed the leadership for ID's future. I've had several conversations with Anijo in his new role as interim dean, and he is leading seamlessly the ID 2025 strategy. So it's not just the story of ID's future that is your legacy. It is its storytellers as well. I wish you the very best of luck. I, like everybody else here, am going to miss you, but I know you will succeed in your new role. Congratulations.
Thank you, Eric. Of course, nothing at ID would be complete without our students, would it? And our alumni. A big round of applause to all our alumni in the crowd. Thank you for being who you are. And to represent both the groups, we asked Joanna Welleris to say a few words for Dennis. I think Joanna is Dennis's favorite student. No, wait, I didn't say that.
Thank you. Okay, so Dennis, wow, thank you. I want to start with a thank you for fostering such a collaborative, relevant, and real community during a time of such uncertainty. It was such a wild experience coming in as a new student in the pandemic. Though I was excited and completely inspired by those I was meeting virtually, my first day jitters were also really heightened, and I was really anxious, and I know I told you about this. But I was anxious about navigating the academic and social path that would define my experience while being in a virtual environment. And in talking to my friends and peers, I know I wasn't alone. Yet, in reflection, it's interesting to see when and why those feelings diminished. I really attribute it to the Institute of Design's wonderful and supportive community. And though community is a collaborative effort, I really do believe that your leadership and direction set the foundation for that to occur. I could say many incidents of this, but there's one that stands out. I remember how in the summer prior to the start of school, you set up a meeting with me and a few other incoming advisees of yours. And it was one of the first examples that I could think of in which you went out of your way to make us feel connected to one another. One student on this call was Aman, and we kept in touch after that call. So when Aman deferred a year and came to Chicago just this fall, finally getting to meet him in person was much more exciting. But it goes to show how your approach to community building will have a lasting impact. Of course, academically, as an advisee of yours, you've helped me, along with many others, gain confidence in school and in our careers. The knowledge and experience you pass to us is appreciated by all of us. And though we are sad to see you go, I know that within this community that you've helped to create, this ever-expanding network of professional relationships and friendships, that your spirit, passion, and guidance will continue to reverberate. It is part of the ID that makes up the Institute of Design. And I know I speak for the entire student body when I wish you the best in any future endeavor that you pursue. And to bring it full circle, I want to quote you, but also reference the Pixar movie, Upwards and Onwards.
Thank you, Joanna. So I think we should let Dennis speak now, right? Dennis?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just said to Joanne that she didn't sing the song. For people remember, the onward and upward. I was trying to sing it. So next time we'll do this. Okay. I appreciate so much that all of you who came today. I really appreciate it, and it's wonderful to see all of you and such a broad representation. I must tell you that I'm leaving ID with a heart full of gratitude and joy, actually. The joy I feel that in the last 5 years, we together, as many of you have already referred to, have started this process of renewal for an institution that's 85 years old and has always been preeminent throughout its life. ID is special to me and to probably everybody here. It has always been a place that fosters and trains, going back to Moholy, new ways of seeing, but I think also new ways of thinking and new ways of doing. And these new ways obviously change with time. And we have seen in the work we've done that Eric has referred to and Peter have referred to, that it's probably around every 20 years that ID pioneered a new design methods to new ways of seeing that was relevant for its times. And I think when we took it together on doing that with ID 2025 was really wonderful to start going back to pioneering practice of design. So that's what leaves me with joy, and it's wonderful to see that this is moving forward. The gratitude is for all the people who believe so strongly in this institution and make it what it is and what it can be, and supported our efforts and supported me personally. And I would like to call out a few of those. So first of all is the university leadership and staff. The university resources has given full support to ID, the very smallest kid on the block, as I can call it that, which really doesn't make a lot of impact on the financial bottom line, but we never got to feel that. We appreciated really that we got that, what felt like a democratic support in similar ways to the much bigger unit. I would like to particularly thank to our provost, Peter Kilpatrick, who from day one has taken a strong interest in ID. Peter and I think, you're chemical engineer as well? Yeah, we share chemical engineering. We both got to design. I did it when I was in my 30s. But I think, Peter, we should think about how we can give you an honorary design degree, because you spent so much time now on really understanding design, which was really, really appreciate and really added a lot of value, not just to ID, but also, as you mentioned, to how design can be used for the university at large, which I think in today's time is an opportunity. Also with President Chabadi Choras joining, I think your interest from the beginning, as you shared as well, was equally big. So I think it was really amazing to get that support from the university for such a small unit. Second, on the university level, I really would like to call out all the central teams that also, in a very democratic way, have supported us as strong as if we were a much bigger unit. I specifically want to call out marketing and communications team. I know we have some people here that really helped us when we centralized. The finance team, who we worked very closely with and were supporting us. The legal team, who always told us that we are the smallest unit, but we have most work for them because we do all those crazy things. But they always supported us. Academic affairs, particularly Pat Grow, who to a certain extent was my trainer. She trained me in how academics work. So it was pretty amazing. Without her, I would not have been able to do it. And importantly, the advancement team, who again was helping us very much directly. And I would particularly like to call out my partner in advancement, Alice Barda, who has really been a big part of kicking off the ID 2025 campaign. Where is Alice? Okay. So second, I would like to express my major gratitude to my ID colleagues, and we actually will have a dinner afterwards where I can go in much more detail. This is ID faculty and staff who opened up new content areas and the dissemination of its content to growing the impact of ID over the last few years, as well as established the new platforms we've already heard about that will continue this growth. It was a privilege and a pleasure to be working with you in the office and over Zoom for the last 2 years. And we'll have share. I want to particularly call out my leadership team that made this happen. Matt Mayfield, our associate dean, who runs the school. Where is he? Like a well-oiled machine. And perhaps you're willing to move to Jerusalem. I'm not sure. Okay, believe me, it needs some operational strengths. Christine Geeken, our assistant dean of content and influence, who has done wonders in growing the awareness and the impact of the Institute's work. And then lastly, Brandon Chower, and before that, Stephanie Smith, who is here as well, our Director of Partnerships, who have really helped establish our connection. They've really helped establish our connection to practice that is so important both for faculty and students. Third, a special thanks to the ID Board of Advisors, who many of them have joined tonight. A board's role is similar to the role of a parent, to provide support, but to also make us better through direct, open critique. And I can assure you that the ID board does both very well. Larry Keeley, unfortunately, is not here tonight, but we had a good level of critique, I would say, in our meetings. I particularly want to thank our chair, Eric Larson, who took a leap and, without knowing me really well, agreed to serve as the board chair from the beginning of my tenure. I inherited a board without the chair. So Eric stepped in, and there's been a great partnership through the 5 years, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. So I would like to end with addressing the part of ID that is most important and at the center of what we do, which is our wonderful students. I'm so glad to see so many of you here. At ID, our students in our program act equally as learners and leaders. Our students come to ID to get tools to make changes in the world, to have more impact by learning, using, and experimenting with new ways of seeing, thinking, and doing. They have always been the strongest part of ID throughout our 85 years of learning and leading, and the current group of students is no exception. And as we just have heard from Joanne, thank you again. Working with students has been so enriching for me for the last 5 years, and I wish all of you continued success, impact, and go change the world. Lastly, I would like to thank Anijo, our interim dean. Without knowing that there would be somebody who can continue the work, I would have been less relaxed about taking on this Israel Museum job, because obviously I have a lot of affection for the Israel Museum, but I have equal affection for the Institute Design, and it was kind of hard to have a personal connection to both. It was kind of hard to make a decision, but Anicho, thank you for so willingly taking over this thing and so capably doing it to continue. Thank you. And all the best. And I know you'll do it with a lot of success. I sleep very well at night. So on the invite, it said, you never really leave ID, you just take on different roles. It was actually taken from my announcement letter to the board. And it is true for me that while I'm physically moving to Jerusalem and a different continent, I will continue to support and follow ID's journey to bigger impact and relevance from afar. And I assure you, without using any of the surveillance products that Israel has. So I'll do it hopefully in a direct way. So I'm wishing all of you from the bottom of my heart the best. I want to thank you again for all of your support, and please come and visit me in Jerusalem. It's worth the trip. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Let's give another round of applause for Dennis. Okay, time for me to close out the toast. Before I do that, I want to thank everybody who put in so much energy into this evening. A lot of people who did that. There's a lot of work that went into it. It's too numerous to name, so I'm not going to call out people, but thank you, everybody. It's wonderful. You can see there are special coasters. The napkin has the word D on it, and Dennis has agreed to sign one coaster for every student. So I would like to call in my closing comments the Eagles, Hotel California. You know the song? Yes? You can check out, but you never leave, Dennis. But the reason why that's true is because all of us in this room, we are custodians of a legacy. We are custodians of an 85-year-old legacy, right? And we feel that responsibility. Each one of us here, we feel that burden to do it. And that's why we never leave, because it is important for us to continue that legacy. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We know that. And one day, we hope that we can become like them. Today, Dennis is a giant. And I'm really honored that I'm taking over from you, Dennis. And the reason why I think this is important to say is because Dennis, from the many years that I've worked with him, I've realized he truly loves ID. You know, it's his family. When he talks about ID, you can see a particular twinkle in his eye, right? When he talks about the students and the faculty and the board members, there's something about it. And his infinite knowledge of ID history. If you ask him, he'll tell you when Moholy-Nagy, the exact time when he landed in Chicago. Right? That's how much he knows about ID. And this means something. Right? And so that's why he can never leave ID. You can never leave ID, Dennis. So today, I want to raise a toast of Fiji water. So if everybody can raise a toast with me to Denis Weil, a giant of ID. So thank you, Dennis. Thanks for everything you have done for us, and thanks for everything you'll continue to do for us. Denis Weil, everybody. Thank you. Okay, there's one more surprise. No party is complete without something that Marty did, right? So over here, Marty and Arnie collaborated to create a poster that you can sign for Dennis. And it is the same thing that you see behind, but you can sign it. We found these special markers that you can use to sign it. But before you use it, please use our prototype first. So on the left-hand side is Marty's prototype version. Test it first and then do the product. So in true ID spirit, I welcome you all to join us in signing the poster for Dennis. Thank you all for turning up. Thanks for a great evening. Enjoy the day.